focus on what you want, because you don't know in the beginning, you don't know what you want. You develop this as you develop yourself, you develop your the way you be authentic, everything over time. You develop your real needs and what the real things you're searching for. And I don't know, this is all issues you really have in the very first, I think, days, but maybe, yeah, maybe for some people it might take a little longer, but you focus on having fun, You're in a situation, it doesn't matter if it's a dating app or you're in town or you're dancing or whatever.
Welcome to Rebuilding the Village, a podcast that seeks to explore the causes of modern problems by examining the roots of our metaphorical village through the systems and structures in society that may have been disrupted in the technological and industrial era that we inhabit. Thank you for joining me today. You mentioned you were a dating coach. I'm really curious how you went from dating coach to AI entrepreneur. It's quite the leap.
Well, I used to come from a technical background anyways, and for me, it was really, I saw an advertising on Facebook in 2010. And it was just a dating coach selling an ebook. I read it, and back in the day, I was like really, really shy. Didn't know how to, approach women or anything. And I read the book and everything sounded very reasonable, and I tested everything, right? I didn't read 100 books. Everything I read, I just tested it on Facebook and in town. And so, yeah, this is where my whole journey started, with approaching women in town. And over the years, that's the shortcut. Over the years, I got pretty good in it. And I always had friends that invited me to parties, and because they knew when I'm around, they get to know a lot of women. Right. And so then eventually there was the point where I was like, okay, I can approach her, but you're gonna owe me a beer afterwards. And it turned out really quickly that they can do it as well if they need to spend me a beer every time. Yeah. So I thought, okay, I can teach it to my friends. Can I teach it to strangers as well? So there was this free time organizing app, and I was just putting events up, hitting on women in town, something like that. And there were a lot of people coming, and I teach them, and so I'd say they were asking me for business cards and so on. This is how I got to be a dating coach in Bern. But I guess once this issue of having the ability to get to know kind of an unlimited amount of women if I want to, once I had this, I approached more difficult tasks like how to build your own companies and so on. Yeah.
It does translate very nicely, because you have to learn how to face a lot of rejection, which in the dating scene is kind of one of the starting points, but then it translates to other areas of your life. Absolutely. So I guess you basically retired from that, and now you're on to bigger and better things. What was the inclination to shift gears to a different direction, different profession?
Well, what do you mean?
Meaning, why did you start doing the dating coach stuff? Because it seems like the scene around dating coaching, date coaching, pickup artistry, things like, it's kind of fallen apart in recent years. There still is some degree of people out there. And even the concept of dating in total is actually, as far as I understand, it's very foreign to us as a society. It's very new. People think it's been around for a while because it's been around for years, but in the context of like human history, it's been like 50 years maybe, and then like for the past 500,000 years, we've just been like, you're gonna marry that guy's daughter, you're gonna marry that guy's son in 10 years. You don't have to worry about it. We got you covered. We're settling land disputes. We're bargaining stuff, and it was just, now it's like, wait, I actually have to find somebody and learn how to talk. Like I don't understand. It's just so bizarre. What made you shift from dating?
Yeah, sure. Well, the thing is, I slid into this, right? Because people were asking me for business cards.
Yeah.
But so I was putting up a website, and but it never really spent ad money to promote it. And so for me, this was like it was like a hobby, teaching guys how to approach women. it wasn't really meant. I mean, I'm saying I was a dating coach, but I was not full time. That was like alongside what I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay. What is your impression of the dating scene nowadays? I think especially post Me Too, and there's been a lot of like the dating apps really as a whole discussion itself, but I think they've really kind of caused a lot of new problems, we'll say.
Yeah, the dating, I have to say, so for me, I did the whole dating thing for around 8 years. And I stopped 3 years ago when I finally met my perfect partner. So I'm with her since 3 years now.
Beautiful.
I guess to be honest, I think dating apps took or social media, smartphones, and so on. I think 10 or 20 years ago, the dating scene was better because people weren't used to dating on apps.
Yeah.
Then the whole app thing. I mean, you probably tried. I tried all of the apps. I tried with fake profiles as a man, as a woman, beautiful, not beautiful, and I mean the standard there is just so low. So being able to speak to a woman in town, it's like saying. I mean, we're always talking about this topic. So privately, I'm still coaching people, and I'm still love to talk about it. So a couple of days ago, I was like, why as a guy, why don't you just go to a girl where you say she's nice, and you just tell her, I like the way you look, you're attractive, this is my number, call me if you're single, right? So this takes like 10 seconds, right? And the whole thing with going on dating apps, you are 1 out of 10,000. Like you won, and you have 10,000 competition. When you do it in town, you have maybe 10 competition. I don't know, maybe 100. Depends on how big your town is, right? So this is already a big advantage that you have. And the whole dating app thing, it's even getting a weirder twist now because AI is writing text for guys that, I mean, let's face the fact. My experience on dating apps as a woman, because I did the fake profile thing, is guys write "let's fuck" or something like that, right? I mean, and hundreds every day. This must be it's so frustrating as a woman. And now it's even getting weirder because now AI kind of helps guys. I mean, I guess the standards are getting a little higher because guys now learn what they can tell or write a woman on dating apps. But then when they go out into the real date, it's even weirder. So
because you're end up being inauthentic, and
exactly.
You can't hold up that shield or that fake face forever. Yeah,
but you learn at least that what I see. The positive is that from the super low standard, people now learn what they can write. So I guess it's because you get more creative, some things stick, and then you get more inspired by sure, I could write this and so on. So I guess AI will be helpful over the long run.
It's been bizarre. It was dating apps. I hear a lot of people talking how just like a lot of frustration. It's like you said, when you made a fake profile for the woman, it was just getting bombarded by just strangers and random guys.
Yeah.
But even the whole courtship process, we'll say, like even when you met your spouse, your wife, your partner, like that still wasn't like a love at first sight. It was like, you still had to go through the motions, get to know them, go on a couple dates, kind of just like ease into each other. And I think what people are trying to do nowadays, and I could be wrong, is that they're trying to rush that process. They're trying to condense it as much as possible. And something like the dating apps is an attempt to do that, where it's like like you said, you're in town, you might meet somebody at church or somebody at at your job or something like that, and you meet them, you say hi, and then you kind of like back off and you just give it time to breathe, and then you kind of like, what's that second conversation? Oh, by the way, are you free Friday night for a drink? Okay, well maybe I'll think about it. And it's just kind of like, and then with the dating apps, it's like, how tall, how much money, where do you live, what do you look like, what are the best possible photos, give me your best pickup line possible, otherwise I don't want to talk to you. And it's like trying to rush past those steps. And especially, like, I'm about 6 foot tall, and I haven't seen it firsthand exactly, but I know like a lot of people were filtering for certain stats on the dating apps. So it's like, I'm about 6 foot. It's like, what if the guy was 5'11"? Well, I only want a guy who makes like, or someone who makes $100,000 a year. So what if it make $95,000 a year? And it's like you end up doing that cutoff, and you end up overlooking a possibly good prospective mate down the road because you're trying to filter through these things. It's very bizarre to our normal way of doing things.
Well, the thing is, this is why you don't go on dating apps. I mean, I installed OkCupid. I'm not sure if you know this one. That's a really good one in my experience. A couple of days ago, just for some fun, but when I'm on dating apps, so first of all, cutting steps is not what you want to do. You want the getting to know someone from the first word or talking or whatever till the end of whatever, how long your relationship is the process is the relationship.
Yeah.
So you want to, so this is what I'm doing, and what I always like to do is you want to not contract it, you want to expand it, you make it more rich, right? But I do like to cut a lot of bullshit steps on dating apps. So when the woman is expecting you to move this far, you move as far as possible, way beyond what she's expecting you, but it still needs to fit. You need to nail it.
Nuance.
If you can nail it, you can go huge steps. And if you go huge steps and you nail them, then it doesn't really matter how much competition you have. She will still bite.
Yeah. And it's just, I remember hearing this really good perspective on something as simple as like dancing. That like a lot of guys may not be fluent in, not really interested. Even myself, I'm not really much of a dancer. But the idea is not to be like, let me show you my super sick moves. It's really more to be like, let me demonstrate to you my capacity to just stay focused, like stay calm, move with the rhythm. I've got a functioning nervous system. I can actually count beats and whatnot. I'm not being creepy. I'm not putting my hands on you. And like, it's kind of, there's so many different layers of like a demonstration going on there. And even in the case of the dating apps, it's like with the tempo of the texting and the messages and talking, not being too overbearing, but you have a little bit of like pullback, and it's like flirting and whatnot. It's all become, I think, a relatively, like you mentioned, if you can get down a tempo, that pacing. And I wonder if a lot of guys just get impatient. They're like, I want to put my hands on her right now while we're dancing. I want to just text her 5 different things, and end up coming across as a little bit weird, a little creepy, or just they're trying to, like, I know I'm guilty of this. They're trying to systematize it down to like exact steps, like exactly. Like step 1, text her on Tuesday at 3:00. Step 2, wait till Friday and say this exact. It's not. It's so nuanced.
So the needy, touchy part is when you're a beginner. I guess the thing is really, so one of the rules the guy had where I read my one dating book was just do it every day. And because when you do it every day, you really quickly realize that first, when you want to be approached by men, second, you can do it every day, so there's no reason for need, so you can focus on what you want, because you don't know in the beginning, you don't know what you want. You develop this as you develop yourself. You develop your the way you be authentic, everything over time. You develop your real needs and what the real things you're searching for. And I don't know. This is all issues you really have in the very first, I think, days. But maybe maybe for some people it might take a little longer. But you focus on having fun. You're in a situation. It doesn't matter if it's a dating app or you're in town or you're dancing or whatever. So, for example, when I was at the supermarket and there was this hippie woman, right? And I mean, there was a lot of situations in the supermarket, but there's the one thing which I remember always is like she was having healthy food in her basket, and I was just throwing fries and stuff like that and beer, and I was like, come on, honey, I can't eat all this vegetables all day. Something like that, but the thing is, like, because this is you're having fun, right? You're creating nice, funny situations. And if you want her phone number, you ask her. If she's given it to you, it's fine. And if it's not, it's not. But it's still a funny situation. Don't focus on a process or something.
Yeah. I suspect, I mean, I've definitely had a little bit of a touch of this myself, but I'm at a point now where I know, like, I could read body language really well. I could understand like when to do this, when to do that. When I was younger, I was a complete idiot. But I understand nowadays people have this fear, and it's a bit of an irrational fear because I think it's very, very extremely isolated. Of like, I'm gonna ask for her phone number, then I'm gonna get arrested. Because I'm gonna come across as like the biggest creep ever. Because like, I just like, so she looked cute. I liked her dress. I like this, and she's like, oh my god, 911! Holy crap! There's a pervert murderer trying to kill me right now. Maybe that'll happen. 1 in a million, 1 in a billion.
Oh yeah,
not even close.
And you're not responsible for 1 in a million. It's not you. When it's 1 in a million, it's not you. It's her. I mean, really. And then there's still the police that then says, "What happened? He asked for your number. So what are we what are we supposed to do?" Like, right. So yeah, don't be afraid. So I'm not talking to you, right? I'm talking about my experiences now. No, I wouldn't. If you just go to a woman and say, it's a legit thing to say, I find you attractive. I want to know you. This is my number. You can call me if you want to. Okay. Please only, and then you can still say, please only call me when you're single. So you're already setting a standard. You're saying like, if you're not single, right? I've got better things to do.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, I think there ends up being this. I guess for younger guys, it's more of a desperation that kind of builds up. It's like, if you're single, but if you're not, if you're on the fence, if you still want to talk to me. But like setting standards and setting boundaries is a big one too. I think a lot of people are, I suppose with age and time and things like that, you start to like relax your boundaries, relax your things like that. But it's relaxing them. But I'm speaking more to like, I keep hearing these stories about like the dating crisis nowadays, and like how, to what degree is that representative of the broader population and really like bigger numbers, or is it just kind of one of those hyped up stories people are throwing around back and forth? Is like people are just becoming desperately more lonely than ever. They're getting paranoid being alone. They're just, but then in doing so, they start to relax their standards. They start to like kind of change and morph, and they start telling each other like red pill movement, blue pill movement, all that kind of stuff. Or telling each other like, this is what you got to do. This is what you got to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a lot. I'm curious if you have any inclination of what's going on, if that's actually representative, like the actual issues, or is it more just like a very isolated pocket of people who just need to get out and talk to people?
Yeah. So that's why I said that before. Is I mean, I used to think this when I did all this stuff, when I started, that's like 14 years ago or something. I guess the Me Too movement wasn't that strong. Feminism wasn't that strong. I still was scared. But the thing is, you don't know how reality is until you test it. You don't be so scared, you know? Reality is usually, I mean, out of all the women I was approaching, there were maybe, I don't know, 10 or 20 that reacted like stronger negative than expected. And this is like rare cases, you know. And the rare cases, I mean, if you're having a super bad day and you're totally stressed and a lot of things went wrong, and then there's another guy talking to you, you're frustrated, right? This happens. I mean, if a woman actually reacts really bad, which is I think today still it's rare, because if the more people get lonely, it's not just one side, it's not just the men. Women are getting lonely as well, you know. So the majority, like the very vast majority, will always be very kind. I think I was testing this in Switzerland and Germany and in Netherlands, like larger parts of Europe. Women like to be approached by nice men, you know, kind, straightforward, not sneaking around. Just don't approach her from the side. Just go approach her from the front. Go slowly. Point. That's what I'm doing always. I'm pointing at her. I'm like, when I approach a woman, she knows that I'm going to talk to her 5 minutes or 5 meters away. Right? She sees me coming. This is all I do, and then I just ask for something nice. I'm just being nice, and there's never really anything bad happening. And this is still the same today. So my advice would be, don't be so scared. It's rare that somebody reacts badly, and this is not about you then.
Have you been to the States?
Last time in the States was a long time ago, but really, I guess it's, even if it's like 10 times harder, it's still rare, you know?
Yeah,
Even if it's
yeah.
like 10 times harder, it's still rare, and I actually don't think so. The States
I'm
are.
curious if you had
Yeah.
a different experience between the two countries. I haven't
I
been to
would have
Europe
loved to,
yet,
yeah.
but I think there is something to like almost like the cultural portion of it, where people are picking up on certain habits and behaviors because everyone else around them is telling them to. This is a good example. I like that when I go to the gym nowadays. Like I'm 35. I'm still in like, pretty good age range. But like nowadays when I go to the gym, I see like nothing but just like the tightest, skimpiest clothing ever. And especially I think for a lot of guys, we're just like, I want to approach her, but I also don't want to come across as a creep because she's wearing like booty shorts. But at the same time, like she's whatever it may be. But it's almost like the women are then like saying like, please, for the love of God, I'm basically wearing next to nothing. Come talk to me. But at the same exact token, these same guys are saying like that feels like a trap. This feels like, because even as I don't know if you've seen this. There's I don't know how popular it is nowadays. It was popular for a bit. It's kind of getting like a counter movement. Was this thing with they would record themselves working out at the gym, and then like a guy might come up to her and say, "Hey," what? And she would just like, or she'd be like bending over doing a certain exercise.
Oh yeah.
And then like have the
this is not the
camera
moment.
right there, and then the guy would just be like, "Oh, hey, nice," and she'd be like, "Oh my God, you super creepy and now a lot of men are just like, "I'm just not gonna try to approach anybody because I'm terrified of being like caught on candid camera or something and posted on the internet for some kind of viral YouTube video or some kind of stuff." And now it's kind of like backfiring the other direction that women are not getting approached as much anymore.
So look, when a woman bends over, this is not the moment to talk to her, right? Sure, obvious.
Yeah.
But I would say that the gym, I think the gym is a good place where women can approach men, because if she searches for a certain guy, I mean, having somebody who's sportive, who's having this how do you say doing something for himself repeatedly a couple of times a week is, there's some quality centers, but I would not approach a woman in the gym, because usually they go there, they're busy, they want to do sports. Where I would go is like in a park, and my last town was in Bern, and I advise everybody to think about a situation like that. I know this is special, but in Bern you can swim in the river. So there's a river going through town. It's crystal clear water. It's awesome, I know. And like the whole city is there in the summer, and everybody's walking up this river and swimming down again. So you can, and there's 10,000 people there at least every day. So you can just go and say, "Hey, I think I like you. Can we go for a swim?" Something like that. And so the framing there is really good, because you've got like 20 minutes walk and 10 minutes swim. And then if you like her, you ask her for a number. So if you have a situation, just think about a situation like that in your town, in your environment. If you have something like that, that's perfect, right? Like a fixed time frame, and you have something to do, right? This is what I would look out for.
Yeah, I suppose in a way, meaning like you didn't say I'm going out swimming specifically to look for women today.
Oh, no.
It's more like, no, I'm going out swimming, and if I happen to bump into somebody, cool. If not, no big deal. Like having something of things to do on the side. Yeah, sure. I think especially though nowadays with social media, and like people have just becoming like, I've noticed this when I go out to like, I don't really go to bars anymore, but like restaurants, things like that. Like everyone's glued to their phones. It's just it's really like right in front of another person, and it's becoming like almost like depressing to see that like people are just like now using the main form of communication. Not like we're losing. I think younger folks might be losing some degree of social skills because of how much they're glued to the phone, which is then leading to difficulty in, well, how do I talk to a stranger? Can I text a stranger? Can I do that? Whatever it may be.
Yeah, I haven't thought about. So I'm not in the scene since a couple of years.
Yes,
and I guess there's a bit. I don't think that the differences between Europe and the States are too high. I think they're small, right, compared to other countries. But I I can generally just, I mean, from my experience, it doesn't really matter. If you're nice and you approach somebody nice, women respond nice. I mean, as women talking to men have a tendency to respond very strange, badly, but women usually don't. There's no real reason when you're nice that a woman is responding badly to you.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at like there's all this new research coming out for like behaviorals and dating and like evolutionary biology. It's funny that we got to a point. We're at a point that like scientists are like, how do we analyze and deconstruct like the approach and the what's going on in the minds and how it's the signals, and because there's so many different layers to that. But it was something I remember hearing. This really funny thing was talking about how men have a overactive sense of like whether or not somebody's interested in them, because the idea being that women are basically the ones that have to agree, men are approaching women have to agree to it, and you don't want to pass up opportunities in case they come along because you don't know how often they're going to come along. So in order to compensate for that, what men will do is they don't realize it's like the girl might just happen to glance in his direction once. It's like, oh, she's totally into me. Because your brain's going like, that might be an opportunity. 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 And they end up like overthinking it, or going too far into all these little rabbit holes and whatnot of thinking like, this girl might be into, that girl might be into me. And then the problem there, I think, is that once that happens, you start to overthink the approach. You start over fantasizing about whether they interest you. You kind of build more tension around the moment than is actually there. And then you either become too afraid to do it, or you do it, you get rejected, and it hits you 10 times harder. Rather than just take a deep breath. She may be caught a glance. You could just test for connection. Just like, hey, how's it going today? Oh, I'm good. I'm busy right now. Okay, never mind. I'll go away. Whatever it may be. But I think a lot of guys, like, it's a lot of weird, we'll say, biological programming that's not functioning as well as it used to in today's day and age.
You know, when that's so what I like. So first of all, I think it's a numbers game.
Yes. Yeah.
Because there's so many. If just imagine it's happening to you. You're always in a different situation. Sometimes you have time. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're good. Sometimes you're not. When you approach 10 people, there's gonna be one really interested, maybe, I don't know, and 3 slight. So one is really interested, 3 are interested, and the rest is like, meh, So this is totally normal, right?
Yeah.
So this is why I would recommend people to, especially with the overthinking part and everything. In the beginning, I did this as well. So in the beginning, I was like listening to. I guess body language is something I'm not good at. It's just automatically it came. It's like I can sense, right? Because it's not something you learn. I believe it's something you automatically sense over time because you're getting better. This is something which if you stick to the game, it's gonna come automatically, I believe. And there's a lot of stuff which is coming automatically. I'm focusing on myself. When I'm nice, I don't see a reason why I should think about her. It's like, hey, I find you attractive. I'm single. If you are, here's my number. Call me if you want to. So this is totally, you're not dependent, and you're filtering out as well, because the ones that actually call you are the ones that are interested. So you don't need to think. There's no thinking part. If she's calling you, she's interested. And then you don't need to stumble around as well. She's interested. Write a couple of sentences and then ask her for a date.
What's interesting too in that is, I suspect that's becoming so increasingly rare that if you were to do that, like, you would absolutely knock somebody's socks off. Because like so many people just like they're going through dating apps or too afraid to approach. Like it ends up being like, maybe back in the day there's a ton of guys approaching a ton of women, so you had to compete with everybody. But now it's like so very few people are doing that. If you do that, you're such an outlier that you have like options galore. Essentially, like more often women might like you be. I think, at least in the States right here, that men might be surprised at how many more opportunities they have because so few men are actually doing it.
So when I was arriving in Bern 14 years ago or something, yes, it's been the same time, like 1 year after I started, there's like so many so the Swiss, they do a lot of sports, right? And they eat very healthy, and so they're looking really good. So there was such a like Bern was full with like really hot women, and I was going to town asking them. So how many people? Because somebody told me that there's not many guys in town approaching women in everyday life. So I asked them. I asked a couple of hundred, and they told me I guess a couple of percent get approached by guys when they're drunk, and this is it basically. So nobody really. So I was like, and this is when I started being a dating coach. I told everyone, it's like, when you go into town and you do this, you don't have any competition. I mean, if you have a product that people want,
nobody else is selling it. Yeah,
people want men. So, and if you don't have competition, then it's not really. You can't really be that bad. Just if you have, look, it's very simple. If you don't have competition and you're staying nice, this is the whole deal. I mean, what are people supposed to do?
Yeah.
Right? If you're an asshole, if you slap her on the ass the first time, this is not gonna work. But if you approach her nice and say, "Hey, I like the way you look. This is my number." This is everything it needs, really.
I suspect these pocket narratives will say really echo harder due to things like social media and the internet, where it's like women only want 6'5" dude who makes $500 million a year, and it's just like most women are just like, no, not even close. No, we don't care that much. Or at least maybe there are women there, but it's like one woman in the entire, and like she's gonna die alone anyway. So you might as well just leave her.
It's not. She might say this. But when she's in town and you approach her and you're nice, we are biological beings, isn't it? That we cannot really do anything against this. Like she will be flattered probably. This is the most likely thing is that she's gonna be flattered. If you're the only guy who's doing this, it's simple.
Yeah. And like I said, there's those narratives that kind of just the echo chamber effect, and it's. I wonder if you scale up from that though. It like does the dating scene. I'm hearing a lot of stories now, and maybe it's just my own echo chambers on YouTube that I've been bumping into. That like this ties more into like marriage and family and kids. Like I keep hearing stories about population collapse. That like the numbers, like people are not having as many kids as they used to. I'm like, I wonder at what point, like where up in the hierarchy does this start? It's like, well, it's because men are not approaching women, therefore we're going to go extinct. Like it's not really what's going to happen, but. And like taking a small subject like dating and approaching women, just like magnifying it through time and saying like, at what point does it start to have like a large scale problem? Because there, like you said, like people might feel like there's no good women out there, there's no good men out there, they're all crap. It's like there's a lot of good ones out there, but you just can't watch the news. You have to just turn off your social media, your phone.
I totally agree with this part.
Yeah.
The perception of reality is way different than reality.
Yeah, and in that capacity, though, like wondering where it starts to scale up and escalate from there. But so I'm curious, do you then, with the coaching thing, because I would imagine it's mostly men approaching women, but did you get the reverse ever? Women coaching women how to approach men?
So here, this is, so it happened a couple of times, not often. And I'm totally cool with that. I think our biology is not changing so quickly. It's a man's thing. But yes, I was approached by women, and no matter how many thousand women I was approaching, I was the same as them. It's like I could barely speak, or I was like, oh, what's happening? Yeah.
And did you ever coach women as well in the same regard?
Yeah, I did coach. Yeah, for me, it's. I actually thought about coaching women just recently on the topic again, because it's just it's. I don't know. It seems like the right moment for women to do that. And I mean, it always was, and I would be a huge fan if everybody would do it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a total advocate of please everybody do it. Just please everybody realize how important this is for your life. And do it. Okay, so this is the general thing, and yes, I would really like to. Of course, I would love to have more women doing this for themselves, picking a guy, right? And because I have like because of my approaching women dating thing, all my friends are women, right? And I always have the same stories of, he's not good, that is not good. And they going out, being proactive, picking the right partner, the right place to find the right partner and so on. This is like, yeah, I would totally do it. Yeah. If I would have time.
Yeah. And where did the jump from date coach to AI come into play?
Well, I guess one of the reasons was that as a dating coach, I did not have enough customers, right? And I was a technical guy since forever. I mean, now I love to be doing stuff on computer, automating stuff. And so what we're doing now is someone realized that creating blog articles for your website is getting you a couple of 1,000 times more traffic than social posts do. And so on my last web project, I had it kind of went viral for a while on Google, and with 69 blog articles. Back in the day, I needed 4 hours to create a blog article, and now I need 10 seconds. So I built a system for myself. I wanted to have a system that puts out super high quality blog articles in 0 time. We're selling it now as well. And so the big goal here is, like, I was inspired by Mr. Beast, and we're trying to get this out to the world almost for free in as large quantity as possible.
Yeah.
So that every entrepreneur and every coach and so on can use our tool almost for free to blog a couple of times a month and be present on Google. Yeah.
Blog articles. So they basically blog in this case, like you would throw an idea into like an AI generator and then be like, I'm looking to blog about dating from this perspective on this particular subtopic. What do you got? And it just pumps something out and you just kind of edit it and then you post it to your website. Why specifically blogs that seem to be getting so much more volume than traditional posts on social media? What do you think that's actually causing the attention to focus in that direction?
I'm actually not sure. I don't know why, but it does. So there's a website called healthline.com. Did you know Healthline?
I've heard of it. I think I've been to it a couple times.
Yeah. So in Europe, for some strange reason in Europe, nobody knows, but they get 200 million monthly website visitors. And all they do with $0 of advertising, all they do is they create super high quality blog articles. And we are trying to replicate their quality automatically. So what you would do is you go into the Modern IQ's website, you create an account, and then you create your content ideas. So for your topic, for example, that would be, modern dating or something like that. So you enter 2 words, and then the system creates you hundreds of headlines for blog articles. And then you just paste the headline into the second app, the blog article generator, and you press go. And if you have a WordPress website, or it uploads it to your website automatically, and you can get it delivered via email and so on. So it's like a tool where you don't need to spend any time and you have big results. Yeah.
I'm actually personally interested in that now. What is your moderniqs.com? That's what it is. Okay. So is it like a subscription model I said to jump into?
Well, right now it's running on credits. You gotta buy credits, and we're launching the second platform somewhere in this month, and then you actually don't even need to create an account anymore. If you want to do an article a month, you can just visit the website, enter your headline, and press create. But if you want to take it serious, and when you want to have serious traffic coming in, you're supposed, like, the more blogs you have, the higher your chances are for it to rank, for a couple to rank. Yeah.
Interesting. That's cool. I'm looking to that. Maybe people will be able to use AI to help them figure out how to approach women a little more effectively.
So the goal here is that, for example, you as a dating coach, your website gets the go-to place for guys to answer questions, because if you let's say you have 1,000 articles on your website, then it's like the directory for questions and answers around dating on the internet, right? Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this has been an interesting conversation so far. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank
Where
you.
can we find your content? Whether you mentioned moderniqs.com.
moderniqs.com, yes. And I'm like everywhere. I'm on TikTok, Modern IQs on TikTok, on LinkedIn. Stefan Fehr is my profile on LinkedIn. I can send you everything for the show notes.
Fantastic. Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. This has been great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us today. If you found us informative, thought-provoking, or learned something new, please leave a review or a comment and tell a friend about the podcast. Feedback means the world to me, as I want to make this the best possible podcast that it can be, and to help others identify the causes of and solutions to problems in their own lives and villages. Until next time, let's keep working on rebuilding the village.